Let me start off by thanking each and every one of you who are present here today. You've taken time out to come over here, and that's a beautiful thing. So huge round of applause to all of you guys. Over the last 8 years, I've had the pleasure of working with more than 25,000 lives around the world. I've helped transform these lives in matters of certain mental aspects and some mental blocks by providing them with certain strategies that they can use to overcome these. I've helped my clients with problems that have been disastrous for them to certain small problems that is just your day-to-day problems as well. And I've helped them by providing the right strategies that they could use to get out of every single problem one by one, not all at once. In this journey, I've had the pleasure of working with some of the most successful people and some of the most deprived people around the world. Now, I would never term successful just by the wealth someone makes, but successful is a lot of aspects. While I've noticed that the successful people are probably around 5 to 10% around the world, they have something that's drastically different than the other 95% of the people. I wanted to know what that is the moment I got to know that something like this exists. And I set out my journey to do that. Before I tell you exactly what it is, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I've had a beautiful childhood growing up. I've been blessed with loving parents, loving dad and loving mom. A dad who was my best friend, who gave me everything that I ever needed if I could provide him the right reason. My dad was such a very, very, very smart guy. If I gave him a reason for why I needed something, he would provide it to me. I was lucky enough to get a cell phone in my 7th standard because I was in a hostel and I said I miss my friends when I'm outside the hostel. So every time I needed something, or I needed advice, or I needed to get out of a situation that I've managed to pull myself into, I would go to my father. And we were so close. In fact, we both were huge movie buffs. He used to come pick me up from the hostel early in the morning so that we could go catch the first show in the morning, have lunch, watch the matinee, have some tea, and then again go for the second show in the night, and then go home happily. Or he'd probably drop me back to the hostel. And growing up with your dad as your best friend has a lot of perks to it. But it also has some bad things to it, because I never thought to depend on myself for anything. So it came as a shock when in 2010, I got a phone call in the middle of the night saying that my father has met with an accident and I need to go to the hospital immediately. By the time I reached the hospital, apparently it was too late. My dad had already passed away. And there were 3 incidents that took place in my life that completely changed me or transformed me as a human being. I would never be the person I am today if it wasn't for these 3 incidents, and that was the first incident. I did not know what to do. My life just went upside down because the only person who I could go to for anything is no longer there, and I didn't know what to do about it. Me, being a very extrovert, a huge extrovert, a very outgoing person, suddenly turned into an introvert, someone who sat by himself, someone who didn't want to talk to a lot of people. It saw a huge difference. It took a huge toll on me and my family. It started affecting every single aspect of my life. It also started affecting the grades, which is what matters the most in India, apparently. Now, I've been a student who's got decent marks all his life, but when it came to my 10th standard preparatory exams, I started failing in all subjects. And I was pretty sure I was going to fail in my board exams as well. But right before I started studying for my board exams, I took a decision. I took a decision that I'm going to study, and I know, even if I don't study well, I will still pass my 10th standard exams because I believe I can do it. I believe I can do it, and I started studying just by that thought in my head. I wrote my exams. I was not sure how it went. When the results came out, I was as starstruck as anyone else. I was one of the toppers in my school. I got 90%, in fact. So I realized that day, your mind, if you can set it to do something for you, automatically it will get done if you put your work into it. The second incident that took place in my life that changed me happened not after a lot of days from that incident. Right after I finished my 10th standard exam, somebody asked me, where are you going to be in 5 years from now? It's a very simple question. Where are you going to be in 5 years from now? Honestly, I had no answer to it, and it scared me. As a lot of people, I understand. But I didn't know whom to go to get a solution to this question. So I decided, no one's going to come and help me over here, so I might as well help myself. And that day, I sat down to make my first plan. I made my first list of the things that I'm going to achieve in the next 5 years. The first one was, I am going to earn 1 lakh rupees by the time I turn 19. I was 16 when I wrote this. By God's grace, I don't know how, by the time I turned 19, I earned not 1 lakh, but 10 lakh rupees. Because I was able to start my first business when I was 17 years old. So these were the kind of things that made me realize, if I set out my mind to do it, I will find a way. The third incident that changed my entire focus towards the world was in 2013 when I attended a business conference. And this was a huge business conference that had the who's of the who of the industry. And I was trying to meet and learn from as many people as I could in that conference when behind me there were 2 billionaires having a conversation. And I just happened to listen into the conversation. As soon as I heard the conversation, it just struck me. So these are 2 billionaires. One of them goes to the other and says, I heard you're supposed to fly out today. What time are you leaving? The second guy says, I'm not leaving today because my plane has something wrong with it, and supposedly I'm supposed to wait for another day. So the first billionaire says, why don't you take my private jet? My pilot can fly you out. He'll be back by night. I can fly out tonight. He said, that sounds great. Now, it's a pretty normal conversation for a billionaire. But from the point of view of a guy who's never bought a cycle for himself, that struck out really wild. Because these guys had reached a level of sanity where talking about sharing private jets is normal. Now, as I said again, there has to be a difference why they are used to it and the others are not. And I struck out that day. That's when I started my journey of actually trying and understanding what's the difference between the successful people and the people trying to become successful. I realized that these guys definitely don't create something like that. I'm sorry, that's not the thing that we had, but yeah, let me go ahead with it anyways. So the successful people design something that I'd like to term as a bulletproof strategy. These guys design some bulletproof strategies that they use in every aspect of their life. Think about it. No matter what big terror or strikes any successful person, they'll have a way figured out. Because they have been used to conditions like that, and they know how to get it done. And what do they use? What do they get out of it? Is something that we'll have to figure out. So I started understanding that bulletproof strategies is something that's very essential to these people. It's very essential to every problem that they solve. But what makes a strategy? What makes a bulletproof strategy? The first thing I realized was they use something called as the right mindset. Guys, they use the most powerful weapon in their arsenal. It's also our most powerful weapon in our arsenal. Not our biceps, not our triceps, it's our mind. The mind is such a beautiful thing that God has given us. Think about it. If you decide to do something, you can get it done. If you think it in your mind, it's possible to get it done. That's such a beautiful gift that God has given us. But what are we doing with it today? The youth of our generation are the weakened generation. Somebody stands up against them. Somebody talks back to them. They are very fragile and crumble. The people of today do not understand how strong of a tool mind is, but rather live in laziness. I've had friends, I've seen people, I've had clients who would come to me and say that, oh, it's too much hard work. I don't want to do this. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to take a shower. I don't want to eat. If you don't do the basic things right, how are you going to get anything done? That was the first point. If you don't get the basic things done, how are you going to get anything right? How are you going to change anything? It's easy to be successful today because nobody's trying. Not a lot of people are even trying. If you have any kind of mental toughness, if you have any kind of willpower, if you have any will to do what you don't want to do, then you have a strong mindset. But it's very hard to see. It's very hard to see that. Now, I grew up knowing that nobody was going to come and help me. I knew that there was no knight in shining armor. That's nonsense. I knew that nobody was going to come and help me, but you know what's the best part about it? Nobody helped me. Nobody helped me, and I got to experience that entire journey to myself. Entire journey to myself. We all complain, right? We all complain. We are human beings. It's in our blood to complain about everything. I complained to everyone I knew that I'm the weakest, dumbest 16-year-old that God has placed on this planet because I don't know what else to do with my life. I complained. I complained and complained and complained till I realized I was the problem. I was the problem. You are the problem. We are all the problems that we have in our lives. Think about it. We create the problems that we have in our lives. But you know what's the bright side of it? We are also the solution. We have the problem, we have the solution, everything within us. All we need is a little strategy and a little mindset to turn that problem into a solution. How can you do that? First thing you can try is overcoming your fears. We are all scared of something, right? Is there anyone here who's not scared of something in their life? No chance. I've been scared of needles ever since I can remember. I've been scared of needles my whole life. Anyone comes to me with an injection, I would either throw something in their eyes or I would run. But I decided I want to get over the fear of needles. So I went and got tattoos all over me. I knew that I was a dumb kid growing up. I was scared about it. I was scared that I didn't have any knowledge because till date I have no degree. I was scared I'll never be able to do anything in life. But I did something about it. There's millions and millions and millions of courses online. There's enough knowledge, enough data online. We're living in the wireless world. I decided I'm going to educate myself without taking anybody's help. I'll educate myself and I'll show it. So I did that. I educated myself. I took 2 months to understand what digital marketing is. And I'm not saying I was the best digital marketer in the 2 months. No, I tried to understand what it is. I got my first project. I picked up another project. Today, I'm consulting clients all over the world by building digital marketing strategies for them. Now, all of this was possible because I decided to get over my fear. All of this was possible only because I decided to get over my fear. What about the people who don't? Our brain is trained to protect us from pain and suffering every single day. Our brain is trained to protect us from pain every single day. So every time you want to do something that you're probably a little scared of, think about it. An alarm rings in the back of your head that says no, no, no. Every time you want to do something you hate, you want to hit the gym at 4 in the morning. No, no, no. You want to speak up. You want to speak up at a place where you know you're going to get that promotion. No, no, no. You want to dance. You want to dance in that club in front of all your friends and all your colleagues and all the other people, but the alarm goes, no, no, no. So every time we want to do something like that, if the alarm's ringing, how do we change it to the right mindset? The answer is right there. Every time that alarm goes, no, 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 you have to know that this is where you need to push more. This is where you have to put that little extra effort and take that extra potential in you. Because our brain stops us from doing this, there's only 30% of our potential that's being used out in the world. I honestly believe this. There's only 30% of your potential that's being used in the world because your brain is stopping you from it. If you know for a fact that every time that alarm rings, you need to push a little bit more, then you push it to 35. The next time, you push it to 40. You push it to 45 and try to reach a stage where you reach the 100. And that's how you can develop the right mindset for you. Now, if you have the right mindset, what's the other thing that you need to combine to make sure you have a bulletproof strategy. And it's something that I'd like to call as the value of attention. The value of attention. Think about it, guys. If you're in a room filled with 10 to 15 people, and if there's one guy who everyone else is listening to, he already has the power to grab the attention, and you know there's something different about him. Yes or no? Yes or no? Exactly my point when it comes to successful people. They know how to grab attention. Because today, attention is not just something that's given for. Attention is one of the biggest resources in the world today. Money and time are trying to become competitive with attention today. I'll give you an example. Every time you keep your phone away from the internet for 2 hours and you turn your internet back on, you have tons and tons of notifications coming on your phone from Facebook, from Instagram, from Twitter, from Gmail, from Google, la da 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 da. Everyone's trying to fight for your attention. They want you to click them first. Some of them even give you an offer. But you have already decided what app you're going to open first because they have succeeded in grabbing your attention. Social media is the biggest example I can give you for the attention all around the world. They try to grasp that attention from you so that they can show you what they have to offer you. If you make the right use of your mindset, if you set it straight and overcome the fears, every time that alarm rings, no, 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 if you try and push a little harder, and if you know how to use the value of attention, you can start building bulletproof strategies for you. This can be used in any aspect of your life you want. Think about it from your business perspective. If you know for sure this is the outcomes you want with the right mindset, and you know for sure that this is the people that you need to grab the attention of, you have a successful business there. Think about it in your personal life. What are your personal goals? This is the kind of mindset I want to attain my personal goals, and this is the kind of people whose attention I need to get to my personal goals. Your personal goals are fulfilled. Even in your relationships, if you're trying to look out for a partner, first set yourself to the right mindset that this is the kind of partner that I want to look out for, and then grab the attention of that partner. That's all you need. In your life, all you're ever going to need is bulletproof strategies to help you succeed. Thank you.